All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Shasta Summit. The last time we got together, we talked about what happened looking back at 2025. I want to focus today on 2026 and what we're seeing, what our predictions are, all that kind of good stuff, right? So, Ron, let's start with you. As we start, where do you? Let's just talk about the direction of the market. I know there was a lot of momentum last year in the market around specifically. Let's talk obviously around the MSPs. But so, where do you kind of see some of those trends going this year?
Uh, I think MSP's position in the marketplace continues to get stronger. Okay, certainly we saw our recruitment efforts in the second half of 25 really pick up. Okay, some of those were long-time discussions that we've been having that are now, okay, let's go. But we've even ventured into a lot of what we've talked about historically has been hospitality and multifamily. We talked about education. We've had some very interesting conversations just recently over the last 60 days with MSPs that are focused in the K-12 marketplace. Okay, and they're seeing the MSP services being more prevalent than ever in K-12. Okay, and we're hoping to hopefully to win some business in E-Rate 2026 as we onboard a couple of probably a handful of partners focused in E-Rate 2026. That the other thing I think is going to be interesting this year is I think we maybe touched on a little bit in our last session, but certainly we're starting to see price increases be announced. Okay, just as we get the year started by some of our competitors. There's certainly a lot of noise about Wi-Fi 7. Okay, but again, Wi-Fi 7 prices are typically 3x of Wi-Fi 6. I think Wi-Fi 7 I think we will see Wi-Fi 7s roll out maybe in a little accelerate a little bit, but certainly not to the levels we've seen in the past when we've made these transitions in standards. Okay, this has probably been, in my opinion, probably the toughest one over the years to really get to take hold because of the price delta that is out there. And I think the other thing, as I look at some of the marketing that is being done, is relating what Wi-Fi does, okay, to the user experience. Okay, I saw a vendor just in this last week put out some marketing and talking about speed. Okay, speeds of uploads and downloads. But what does that really mean to the end customer versus what they're getting with Wi-Fi 6? Okay, am I going to be more productive in my workday? I mean, because that's it's a lot of times the architects, the wireless architects, get excited by those things, right, and geek out about it. But I don't know that we as an industry have yet got the messaging right. Okay, for the customer to say, I've got to have this. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in 26.
It's almost like, do you really need the newest iPhone, or can you stick with a couple models below?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we'll have a full portfolio of APs, whether they're in Wi-Fi 7, whether they're working across all three bands. We also have some products that are only working in 2, 4, and 5 gigahertz, but are Wi-Fi 7. Some people would say, well, one of the key pillars of Wi-Fi 7 is 6 gigahertz. And certainly in environments, and especially in the enterprise, where it is not BYOD, but where that enterprise customer delivers laptops to their workers, delivers phone or other devices to their workers that are they're taking advantage of that 6 gigahertz. Those networks are typically playing in 5 and 6, and hardly anything in 2, 4. But at the end of the day, I haven't, the articulation of what is the customer getting? What is that killer use case to where I have to have this? seems to be missing out there.
In the old days, we had VARs, resellers, and then we had MSPs, and then that kind of blended together, right? VARs and resellers just started, you know what? We woke up one morning and said, hey, I'm an MSP now. And so you got a mixed kind of partner environment. But one thing that we heard a lot in 2025, and I'm just wondering where you guys see it going, because you're the ones with the feet on the street, is to this concept of platform owners.
Yeah, I think to start that off, I think that one of the big trends we see in 26 is breaking tradition, or breaking, I'll call them bad habits, but the things they've done all along. To your point, Chris, whether that's process or models or whatever the case. To your point, Chris, we used to have resellers and distributors, and now it's vogue to say MSPs. Everybody says MSPs. Most MSPs are still resellers, most of them. An MSP, I guess, and it's how you define it, is a managed service provider. They're providing a service that's managed, hopefully, potentially in the future, it's as a service, and it's all inclusive, and they're not reselling somebody else's product. They're providing an overall solution to determine outcomes. Here are the outcomes, and here are the things that we need. So I think a true MSP is a platform owner. It's not about taking widgets and saying, hey, I need 20% margin on this piece of hardware, and reselling it and saying, hey, look at the marketing of this company I'm reselling this product to. That's what a lot of MSPs are doing today. I think the big prediction, and it's those aha moments I think that have happened, is I sell my own call center, I sell my own support service, I sell my own video, I sell my own captive portal, and I develop and engineer those services, and I've created practices around security, installation, all of those things. Why am I just reselling somebody else's commodity hardware with a huge up price on it that I can't take advantage of? So the platform owner is all about, and this is the shift, is what Shasta is enabling to put their name on it as much as they want to. So it could be a full rebrand or a partial rebrand, but it's giving them the control and the destiny of their own platform. So it's not having them just resell, but really get vested. And that's where I call breaking habits makes a difference. Because now you can really start to influence how your organization becomes efficient and how they develop process. And that's what I think the big thing that people are learning as they start to see this vision of platform ownership. How do I cut my costs? How do I buy direct from the hardware through our distribution? So how do I get factory-enabled pricing on enterprise platforms with highly sophisticated software capabilities from Shasta, and bring all that stuff and develop it as our own, and gain the margins and gain the processes and gain the benefits of that. So instead of just reselling, it's actually getting engaged as part of the process. Think of Shasta as enabling their platform, or we're the engineering services for them that let them sculpt their service offering how they need to sculpt it. So we're enabling them, Ron has said it in the past, I've said it in the past, your network, your way, but really defining what that service is and how they deliver it, and how they can control costs and margins and profiles, and at the end of the day, create a better customer experience. So that was a lot to say that, hey, people have figured out that MSPs aren't just to rename the new vogue name for resellers. It's actually changing fundamentally what you do and how you deliver things. And that's what Shasta is all about, is breaking, I call them bad habits. So why do you need to stage everything and ship everything twice? That just doesn't make sense to me. Why do you need to have smart guys configure every single site, hands-on and fat finger things? That doesn't make sense. Why are you paying ODMs for 70% margin profile that they put in their pocket, but they tell you have to have 6% margin? We're breaking the bad habits to enable people to actually be relevant and leverage their services.
So let's dive into that margin profile, because I think the learning part of that is I think it's a lot more than we think. It's definitely a change in the way people do their business. And the margin profile historically, traditional ways, is, I think everyone's very comfortable with that. And the way you guys are approaching it is very different. So let's just walk through that. I think there's some finer details in there that an MSP just needs to look at look at the way they price things very differently than the way they did in the past.
I think where it starts is, and when you look at traditional pricing models that have been established, okay, it's all based on a MSRP, and then there's discount structures off of that. Okay, there's a discount structure for distribution, okay, that then supports, whether it's resellers, VARs, MSPs buying from them. There's all kinds of programmatic discounting that goes on, but it all is based off of an MSRP. Okay. We, on the other hand, have completely flipped the script. Okay. Ours is a cost model. Okay. Certainly we use two-tier distribution in our model, but when we set pricing, it's not based off of an MSRP. We don't have one. Okay. It's a cost. Okay. We look at the marketplace as the pricing that's been established from the OEMs, okay, to end customers. Okay. That's effectively street price, is what, name that we've typically used out there. Here's what the street price is. That's the market price. Okay. So by giving the cost to the partner, and they certainly should understand what street prices are, they can now, retain margin up to that point and set their own pricing. That's the beauty of what we're doing. So we do not dictate margin. Okay, the marketplace effectively does, but they have the tools now to where they can take their fair share of that versus giving it all up to the traditional OEMs.
Let's put that in blank terms. Really simple for everyone to understand, because it's really critical. And Ron will talk about deal registration that adds a tier. Not only is it margins, but it's resources and complexity.
Yeah.
So there's a cost that Acme Wi-Fi and Ethernet switch companies, and we know who they are, that they buy stuff at a factory. They get their name put on it, and they sell it through distribution. And if you look at all of those companies that are successful, maybe some of them things that's a different topic, but all the ones that are successful, if you look at the revenue numbers at the end of the year in their books, they're making 70% margin on all their stuff. At the end of the day, for them to be successful, that's where they are. What we're enabling is people to start with that cost and build up. So that 70% margin doesn't go to Acme Wi-Fi Enterprise Switch Company. That goes to them, our partners. And they get to determine, based on their business models, what the street price is. They don't get told after Acme Company, ODM, makes their 70% that they can make 6%. They get to come in as bold and as efficient, depending on all the integration capabilities they want. But they have that 70% plus the 6% to play with in their world. So now we're enabling them, by being a platform owner, to actually own all of the services. And the challenge, what's happening now is not only are people saying that, holy cow, there's a big spread there, and now I can be profitable again, but they're also understanding that they don't have to compete with Acme Wi-Fi and Switch Company, because a lot of the things that happened, all of our traditional competitors, all the traditional ODMs, are going directly to the end customer and working with them to set pricing and leaving the MSP to say, do you want to play or not play? So this enables the MSP, the ones that are actually doing the work, the ones that are taking the phone call, it allows them to control their destiny, both financially as well as from a business practice, as well as from an efficiency and a cost management perspective. So it's really huge. There's a big piece of pie there that isn't just being given away to the ODMs just for being the OEMs.
All righty. Well, I think that covers a lot for today. I thank you guys again for attending and watching the Shasta Summit.
God love us all. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.